Wondering why you should want to watch 2K League Basketball when you could be playing it yourself or watching real life basketball? Here are all the things you aren't noticing that makes 2K difficult and different. And starting it off with one of the biggest differences is the player builds. Everyone in the 2K League is playing on a similar build. For example, point guards are typically going to be about 6'1" with high 3-point ratings, high ball handle, high speeds, etc. So because of this, the skill gaps in the 2K League are mostly mental, but that's not to say real life basketball isn't a mental game either. There are just more factors in real life that could play into the skill gap, like depth and matchups, and overall it lowers the impact of mental skill gaps. The point I'm making here is that in real life you might have a point guard who is a really good playmaker and defender, but they're not the best at finishing and shooting, and on the other team you might have someone who's the exact opposite. They can finish and shoot well, but they can't really make plays, they can't really defend. But in the 2K League, because of the similar builds, you won't really see that. Obviously some stick skill is involved just like in any esport, but typically the team that's better prepared mentally is the team that's going to come out on top. Another big difference that typically goes unnoticed is that the majority of the court is visible to everyone at all times, whether you're on offense and defense. And the reason that plays a big part into the difference between real life and 2K is that backdoor cuts are much harder to execute on 2K than they are in real life, just because the defender can see everybody on the screen at once. They can see who's handling the ball. They can keep an eye on that corner. So if they see someone coming from the corner, they're trying to make that backdoor play, all they have to do is get in the lane and get the steal. And another way that the court visibility impacts the game is by defensive rotations and switches being made easier. For example, if there's an on-ball screen coming and you have to switch it with your teammate, you're going to be able to see everything. You're going to be able to see the ball handler. You're going to be able to see the screener, whether he's rolling or popping. You're going to be able to see your teammates, whether they're helping off or if they're staying on their man. Overall, it just makes it easier to react when you know where everything on the court is and how everyone's reacting to what's going on. And next up, we've got 3-point shooting. Shooting threes in 2K is a lot easier than it is in real life. If you're open with at least a decent 3-point rating, you should be able to green it. A 3-point shot is the best shot in the game, and a 6'1" point guard in a pick and roll gives you the best chance of getting a 3-point shot off because of the badges and ratings they get. And out of that pick and roll, it's made even easier to get a 3 off because of fading in this game. You can fade with much higher success this year, so rather than coming off a screen, having to quick stop, gather, and then shoot your shot, you can literally just come off of it, fade, and it's probably gonna go in. And the final big difference we're gonna cover today is defense as a whole. With point guards in 2K always being so quick and being able to easily maneuver around the defense, it's tough as a center with low speed to keep up when you're defending the pick and roll. In the NBA though, threes aren't always as much of a threat, so the center doesn't always have to pick up high on the screen. For example, in the NBA with guys like Brook Lopez on the Bucks, you'll see a lot of drop coverage. And this will be much more effective in the NBA because the point guard in a pick and roll isn't always just 300. But on 2K, when the guard is almost always 300, you need a faster back end player to play in the pick and roll. And that's why the power forward will play it rather than the center, and the King's rotation is frequently used. And also defensively, you have to be very careful with where you go on your rotations this year. The shooting pocket is much larger, and basically what that means is you have to be a lot closer in order to get a very good contest in a shot. So that is going to wrap up this week's episode of Levels. Next time you watch some 2K League basketball, definitely make sure to look out for the things that we talked about in this video. But anyway, make sure to drop a like, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys next week for the next episode of Levels to this.